business, whatever business we're in, we want customers when we come through the other side. Because in my opinion, if we don't invest the time at the moment, we're in danger of losing our customer base.
So with the news reports yesterday that 1 in 5 small to medium businesses expect to run out of cash in the next 4 weeks, it's so important, more so than ever, that we're doing everything we can to support those organisations. Not least because they're our friends, our relatives, people that we know and love, and their livelihoods are on the line, but also because the small business community was crucial in getting the economy out of the 2008 financial crash. But also when you consider that a huge proportion of GDP in the UK comes from the small to medium business community, and around 60% of private sector employees are employed by small to medium businesses, it would be catastrophic for us if that many businesses went to the wall and couldn't survive this crisis. Now, I don't believe it will be quite as bad as the article states, not least because we're expecting new measures to be announced this afternoon, and also it doesn't account for people's ability to adapt and evolve and change. So we're seeing, of course, restaurants changing into takeaways. We're seeing retailers move online and sell in that way. So there will be some measure of comfort through those adaptations. But even so, that level of businesses that are running out of cash is catastrophic. Think about the people that they owe money to and they need to pay, and the knock-on effects of those organisations just running out of cash. So with that, we're continuing the series. I caught up last week with Paul Miller. I've worked with Paul for a number of years. Paul runs Cornish accounting down in Bodmin, and here were Paul's tips on how businesses can weather this storm.
My name's Paul Miller from Cornish Accounting. I almost seem to have been in accountancy forever. I've done 37 years, so I've got 1 or 2 years under my belt. And I think the current situation that we find ourselves in is like nothing else that we've ever experienced before. And what we need to do is draw on our inner strengths, inner reserves, experience to actually help us and our clients through a difficult situation. So if you were to ask me what are the top 5 tips that I would recommend to people in the current climate, the first one is I think we need to calculate a basic budget. And the way I would calculate a basic budget, it would be an overhead budget, and I'd be looking at what are my current overheads pre-COVID, what are my overheads post-COVID. I'd then be looking at my bank balance, and I'd be dividing my bank balance by my revised monthly overheads. This will give me an indication of how many months I can survive without getting a loan from the bank. And the difference between maybe surviving 6 months, having a budget for 6 months, and how much money I've got will be the loan that I would apply for. So easy example, because I like easy examples, is that let's say our overheads are 15 grand a month. Let's assume we've got 60 grand in the bank. Dividing 60 by 15 means that I can survive 4 months on my present cash. I would then add another 2 months money to that. So I would apply for a loan for £30,000. And I'm advising all my clients, every business, to apply for a loan. It is non-interest bearing for 12 months. And as one of my clients said to me, if there's free money going, I want it. And my concern would be is how deep are the government's pockets? How quickly can they process the loan if I was to apply, when it's going to be for me? So I would be saying to everybody, speak to your bank, get the application forms that you need, complete them, ask your accountant or advisor to help you complete them and get them in. So once we've done a basic budget and we've got the money in, that's where I think on my second point is where forecasting comes into play. Because at the moment we've got to work out a budget, an overhead budget for each month. We've then got a lump of money. We've then got to look at how we actually spend that money. And to me, that's when an app would help in terms of helping me budget for the costs. But what I'd first want to do is actually apply for the loan and get the money in my bank account before I actually did any rigorous budgeting. Because the world is changing so swiftly at the moment, we cannot really make any decisions based on what our income levels or cost levels are going to be going forward. So that's where I see the detailed forecasting help. The third thing I would look at is, as part of the overhead calculation, you need to decide whether you apply for the job retention scheme. And I'm suggesting to everybody, due consideration needs to be given to that, because depending on whether you apply for that or not, that will have an effect on your revised monthly budget. So that's the the third thing I would do. The fourth thing I would do as part of my budgeting will be looking at all of my overheads. I'll be looking through my overheads and I'll be emailing the people that pay me on direct debit that says, dear direct debit supplier, I've cancelled your direct debit at the moment. That's not because I don't want to pay you. It's because I want to control when I pay you. And I will pay you online using my bank account facility. Thank you for your cooperation in this. when we come through the other side, I will reinstate my direct debit. So I'd be looking at my costs. I'd also be asking questions of some of my suppliers, such as if you have landlords, I'd be asking your landlord, your loan providers, etc., what can they do to help you? And I'd be asking open questions. I wouldn't necessarily be saying that I want 3 months free or half off. I'd actually be asking them, what can they do to help you? Because I suspect you'd be surprised by some of the answers that come back. And I suspect people will end up being more generous than you actually originally thought they would be. Next point is I'd be wanting to make sure that you look after your staff and your team. For a lot of us to work remotely is a new thing. So we need to make sure that our team are fully confident, are up and running, and we need to make sure we keep them enthused. Because if they're talking to our clients, we need to present to our clients a confident approach. The fact that we're a sounding board, we're here to listen. Because if you find someone on the phone is negative, that actually draws you into their state of mind. Because actually, if people are upbeat, you can actually lift them. So I'd be saying to people, let's have good conversations. Let's remember the good times, because we've all had good times. And let's remember those good times will come back. But for a lot of us in business and self-employed, we're not patient. But can I suggest at the moment, we need to be patient, which doesn't necessarily come easy to some of us. And I'd be just talking to people, talking to my clients, which I think is point 5, and just having conversations. How can I help you? What do you need me to do? Whatever I can do, I want to do, I will do, I want to help. Because for all of us, whatever business we're in, we want customers when we come through the other side. Because in my opinion, if we don't invest the time at the moment, we're in danger of losing our customer base. So it's just talking to people, remembering that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and that's because we need to do things in that ratio. Listening is a hell of a skill, and it's going to be a soft skill that's going to be important for all of us moving forward in the new economy. If I can help anybody in any way, shape or form, I'm on Twitter, Cornish MD. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can email me at paul@cornishaccounting.com or phone me on 01208746115. My last message is we're all in this together and we need to help each other. There's some great people out there who've got some great skills that can complement ours. Let's not be afraid to actually ask them to help, because I think we all feel if we ask for help, it's a sign of weakness. But to me, it's a sign of strength, because we need to acknowledge what we can do to help people. And if there's anything else that anybody else can do that has different skills to us, we need to ask that question. Because invariably, in my experience, people will actually help you. You just need to ask. Thank you very much.
Thanks again to Paul for your time and advice there. Really appreciate that. Some great tips that hopefully lots of people can get some value from. Hopefully there's at least a couple of things that you can take away and start doing immediately to try and help move your business forward and make things just that little bit easier and give you yourself the best chance of getting through this crisis. Thanks very much again for watching, and we'll see you soon.